Seaside last time. Half done away. Let's go.
How do you guys treat your FBA business? Is your FBA business a side income or a savings account / investment fund? What I mean by a side income is, do you use most of the money that you make to pay bills, to fund your life, that sort of thing? Was that the reason that you started it? So that you could supplement whatever job or career you're in right now? Or are you treating it as a savings account / investment fund? And what I mean by that is that the money you're making, you're either saving it, leaving it in whatever account it gets deposited in, or whatever account it may be, saving that money, investing that money, putting it aside, not touching it, or you're using some of it to reinvest back into the business, to source more products, or buy a scale, buy a record player like I did. So which one? Is it A, side income? You're using a lot of the money to support yourself, maybe pay for things that you couldn't afford before you started doing FBA, and then maybe you're putting some of it back into the business to keep it going? Or is it largely being saved on the side in anticipation of retiring with the money, of starting another business, of continually investing in FBA and building up your inventory to a huge level or big level? Which one is it for you? For me, it is B. I barely touch the money. I mostly only spend it on buying new inventory, so sourcing, and the occasional expense here and there. Well, like when I bought the scale, when I just bought the turntable, which was pretty expensive, but I could definitely afford it, and things like that come up, such as materials, right? Like buying bubble wrap, buying boxes, buying construction paper, whatever you need for your business to keep it going. But probably it's about 90% of the money that I don't spend since I started. I occasionally use it for some sort of pay for dinner or something, but I've basically hardly do that either. I mostly only touch the money if it's related to the business, because for me personally, I want to build that money up. I want to create a pile of money basically. And currently it's sitting in my bank account, so it's not vested or anything like that. But I kind of look at it as my own investment fund that does way better than the stock market, and certainly way better than a savings account in a bank, or than a CD, that type of thing, or a bond fund or whatever it is, because I can take $1 and I can turn it into $8 to $10 pretty consistently. So therefore I can take $100 and turn it into $800 to $1,000 over time, not immediately, of course. I can definitely flip this money relatively quickly. So I kind of look at it from that perspective, that I want the money to continue to grow, and at some point it's going to be too much to keep it in a checking account. It's going to have to be, I'm going to have to put it into an investment, or do something with it that makes more sense than it just sitting there and not getting any interest, working for me, not either funding more sourcing, like a lot of sourcing, another business, or whatever it may be. So that's always been my idea with it, is that I want to see how big I can build this, doing it very part-time. Then whenever I get to that level, sort of max out with what I can do, then I can start making decisions about where I want to take it from there. Do I want, to try to free up more time for myself so I can build it bigger just by myself? Do I want to use some of that money I've made to hire somebody to help me out with some of the process, so that instead of listing and shipping, I could pay somebody to prep, list, and ship, and then all I would do is source. And so that would just, enable me to possibly be able to source more. I don't know. But I have other ideas of using some of the money to start different businesses that are online, build up more income, the whole concept of multiple streams of income. The great thing about FBA, a big percentage of it is passive, because Amazon does a lot of the work for us. Once the products hit the warehouse, it's up to Amazon. Aside from us repricing and deciding whether we want to keep a product in our inventory, such as disposing of it or having it returned, basically Amazon does everything from there. So it's like a front-loaded business, and then it's passive after that. So you can put a lot of work into it, like I'm doing now, so that you feel the rewards over the next 3 or 6 months. Everyone has their own situation, right? And you start this business for different reasons, and I totally understand that. But if there's any way you can save a large portion of the money you're making, it's probably a good idea. It's good to save money in general, but you might as well save this money or reinvest it back in the business and grow it as big as you can, so it just keeps throwing off money. Because I feel like when I get a payment from Amazon, I feel like, well, I can take that money and I can turn that into, I get a payment of $800, $1,000, I can turn that $800, if I spend all of it on sourcing, on quality items to send in, which would be a lot for books and CDs, would be a lot of items, then I can turn that into many thousands of dollars. So it's very tempting to buy a lot. I just don't have that much time to source. Another idea is getting more space, right? Whether it's a storage unit, whether it's a little office that you pay $300-400 a month for. But again, that's to me a big expense. I don't know, I'm not ready for that yet. And I don't know if I will be, because I would rather just have it done. I would rather be able to do it in my house, have space that I can do that, not have to pay for a little office or whatnot. As I grow the business, I've always had the idea that some of the money would potentially pay for things in my life, little expenses that aren't huge expenses, but I want to be making a certain amount of money so I can do that comfortably without feeling like I'm spending a large portion of the FBA money that I'm making every 2 weeks. For me, I'm super conservative about finances and don't like to just spend the money. I like to sit on it and really think it out before I spend very much of it. It's been a lot of fun for me to go from when I first started and see the money that I had in my account, go from there to where I am now and see how much it's grown is just been phenomenal for me. So I'm curious, where do most people fall? Is it A or B? Is it using most of the money to pay for your life and things you have going on to supplement your income? Or is it mostly saved and then reinvested in the business to grow the business and grow that money that you're making? These are important things to think about, whether you're doing this business or not, but especially doing this business, it's important to keep track of the money, have an idea how much you're spending and how much you're making and how much you're keeping. The old saying from Rich Dad Poor Dad, pay yourself first, if you've ever read that book, which millions of people probably have. You get paid by Amazon, you're gonna keep that money, or you're gonna spend some of it on sourcing? Great, to make more money, but are you gonna keep some of it? Are you gonna invest some of it, save some of it? I think that's a good idea. Let me know in the comments below how you view that and how you're going about it with your money and your finances when it comes to FBA. And also, I'm headed right now to UPS for another shipment. I put together another small shipment of only books. Once again, it's a 49 book shipment. I didn't even bother seeing if 50 would put me over to a different warehouse, or split it up, but it's the same warehouse in state. And so it was 49 books. So this will be my second shipment in the past five days, I believe, of books. So it's almost 100 books that I've sent out, and pretty excited about that. So this should hit, I'm going late to UPS on Monday. So hopefully this will check in at the latest by Wednesday. So I'm really working hard to build up my book inventory more in anticipation of back to school in August and September. I'm excited about that. I have another about 30 books to go to send out. That'll be a smaller shipment. I also have a couple of CDs and a couple of VHS tapes. I'm gonna put them in the shipment and see if it gets split. I hope not, but we'll see. I might have to send a couple to a different warehouse, but we'll see what happens. As always, remember, keep booking. One box, 49 books, 50 pounds. $8 and change to ship.